episode 3.
Okay, thank you for having me again.
Having me.
Is that bad?
We've never left the building.
Yeah.
We never stop talking.
That's it. No, we do. We do chit chat ad nauseum.
We do. I have 2 things today. One is of ire and one is of curiosity. Which way do you want to go?
Ire, did you say?
Yeah, one of annoyance.
Ire. What's that mean?
Okay, move on. I
don't know what ire is.
IRE. Here, ire. I don't know how you say it. IRE.
Ah, okay.
Maybe it's better as a written word rather than a vocal.
Yeah, ire.
One of frustration.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 things. It's like choose your own adventure. Do you want the cranky Rebecca or the curious Rebecca?
Let's start with curious and funnel into cranky. Yeah.
Maybe let's not worry about the cranky Rebecca.
Okay, let's go curious.
Curious. I'm intrigued this week because there's 2 things in the news this week. One is an artist work at Sotheby's sold for a lot of money, which they usually do.
Yeah.
And the artist's name is Maurizio Catalan, which just happens to be linked to another piece of information. There's a crypto dude whose assets have been frozen for basically perhaps untoward business practices. Who actually purchased allegedly. Thank you, allegedly. And this person in question has purchased the Maurizio Catalan art piece called Comedian, which is the banana taped with duct tape to a wall. Do you know it?
I think we're looking at a version of it. Duct tape to the table. This isn't the actual art piece.
We're sitting at a table.
Interpretation of it.
We're sitting at the table with a banana duct taped to the table.
Yeah.
Sandro says he's not an artist, but he just actually made this artwork.
Yeah. Duct tape straight out of the boot of the car, taped it to the table, and we're ready to rock and roll.
I find it funny that you actually had duct tape in the boot of your car.
Everyone should have duct tape in the boot of their car.
Not everyone. No one has duct tape
everything.
in their boot.
Fixes everything.
You're not even a tradie. You're a scientist.
Well, I'm not a scientist. Science trained, shall we say. Studied science at uni, but never was a working scientist. Let's put it that way.
And you have duct tape in your car.
Yeah. Fixes everything.
Well, it was do you know what it fixed at the moment? Because we've now made this artwork. The banana taped, to our table. What do you think of this artwork?
What I think about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It raises a lot of questions with me. Like, what is art, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at that and it doesn't scream like artwork to me. Like, I don't know. Is it just a banana with duct tape on it?
Yes.
And that's what freaks me out. Like, how can the art world, view that as something that is just so treasured and someone's willing to pay all this money for it, and then they have to go out and buy another banana because it's a perishable item. What's going on?
Do you know it's a editioned piece? There's more than one of them.
Has to be more than one of them. You got to keep buying bananas. You pay millions of dollars and you got to go buy a lifetime supply of your own bananas. So there's things that seem a little bit crazy that's happening in the art world, but let's explore that a little more and just try and understand why people would be willing to do that. Why would someone be willing to part with all that money for something like this modern art? Is that what you'd call this?
Contemporary art.
Contemporary art? And how does that relate to art in general or life in general? Because, I mean, for me, that makes no sense to me on first glance.
Yeah.
But when you start to scratch away at the surface a little, maybe there's something to it because...
Yeah, well, it must, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you view a piece of art in isolation? Like, say, one of your paintings or charcoal drawings or sculptures that you do. Do you view that in isolation? Do you just look at that piece of work and just lose yourself in whatever you think that is and view that art? Or does the observer have to understand who the artist is, understand their body of work and try and have some level of understanding of where it's come from.
I think you need to apply that to everything on a daily basis, not just artwork, right? Otherwise, you're just a bit judgy. I think you find empathy if you actually come to a situation and can bring all your experiences to that moment. The other person brings all their experiences to that moment, and then you look at it objectively, not subjectively. I think you have to look at it in context to everything else. Otherwise, it won't make sense. But then that's a lot of information to take on a daily basis, I realise.
Yeah, but is that what art is? Like you can't view a piece of artwork in isolation? You have to have some understanding of where it comes from? Or is it up to the observer? They can just view the artwork for what it is, or they can, strip away the onion, if you like, take away the layers and understand it in a deeper way.
Well, that's right. You have a choice.
Okay.
You do have a choice, right?
You do have a choice.
You always have a choice.
Okay, because for me, if you strip away the layers of this, you have to eat it. I bet there'd be a lot of people out there, that would have viewed this artwork and thought, huh? Is this art? Really?
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I mean, so you do have to look at it in context, because you've either got to look at the body of work that the artist has created, you've got to look at the gallery in which sold it, you've got to look at the people who basically contributed to the story of it. Yeah. And what else do you have to look at? I'm just trying to work out where a good place to start off. Right, because us creating that, we're not going to be able to sell that for like $6 million a pop, right?
No?
Should we try?
No, you're right. No one's gonna pay $6 million for that.
Yeah. So the artist who made it, Maurizio Catalan, he's been making art for a really long time. Yeah. And the work that he creates is generally a satire, either of himself in the art world or the art world of politics. He's looking at the power play of different. All his artwork is that way influenced. That way influenced, right? So he is actually looking at power structures. Yeah. And looks at it in a humorous, satirical kind of way. And he also puts himself into it as well. And so he's actually been making work since the 80s. And also and he's not just, so he's not a new artist. Like the guy came out of retirement to make this artwork. And, so he's had Venice, he's been represented at the Venice Biennale. He's had shows at the Guggenheim. Okay. So he's a big name.
He's a well-known artist.
He's a well-known artist
in the art world and beyond. Like and people would know who he is.
Yeah. Well, he would know, or at the very least, the guy that created the banana and the duct tape, right?
Well, if nothing else, it's created a lot of conjecture and debate and talk. Just general conversation.
Which is what his work's about. Yeah. And so it's successful. He's been successful, right? Yeah. But so he can't actually so the artist can't just have their body of work on their own and do that. You can't do that. You need a support structure around you. So he's supported by a well-known gallery, like Perrotin Gallery, and the galleries, the high-end galleries in that art world, they're influencers. So they've got an opportunity to influence what people buy and who buys it. And so they've got a lot of power themselves. And so the artists can't work solely on themselves. They also need the gallery. Yeah. And then the gallery can't work solely on themselves. And so they're looking at the art market. The art market is interesting because it's exclusive. They actually want to create that exclusivity. It's unregulated. It's not a normal art market. There's no secrecy. Like, it's who's who has this work.
I see. So I see your point. Like there's a lineage almost, like to the pieces of art. Like there's, whoever owns it or who has owned it before, that's all well known and well documented. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think when you're buying, the art market itself, the one that you see those records of prices getting broken, on the sales at, say Sotheby's. Yeah. It's a niche market, right? It's an exclusive market. It's an intellectual market. Yeah. It's not easily accessible. You and I wouldn't really necessarily be able to access it, whether it's just from a financial perspective or even the fact about influence is probably not that great that we can't.
Sorry, when you say access, you mean to buy.
To buy.
To purchase.
Yeah, so the galleries also have choice on who buys the work. And so...
Really?
Yeah.
So they can say yay or nay?
Yeah, but they'll be more diplomatic about it.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can't just jump in and say, I want to buy an Andy Warhol. You might want to. But the galleries might want to create a sense of drama and secrecy about the work. And depending on your history, it's not going to be an easy run to. You're going to have to do a lot of networking.
Wow, I never knew that. That's fascinating.
I know, right? So once again, it's exclusive, right?
Yeah.
So it's really exclusive. So you've got to have a lot of things line up for a work like this to be able to create the notoriety that it has. And now the artwork has a life of its own. So it's not even, you don't associate the artist with the artwork because the artwork...
this was on display here in Melbourne, wasn't it?
It was at the NGV.
I don't know if it was the actual or, a version of it, but, I went and saw it.
Yeah.
And you could go through the gift shop at the end and buy memorabilia.
I thought you could say they had bananas for sale and gaffer tape.
Almost. You could buy stuff, memorabilia associated to it that you could actually buy. And that's how much of an interest that it actually
generated. Yeah. And so we've got to look at those separate pieces. So you've actually got the artist who's got a history of showing at high institutions and has a following. They've got a solid gallery who supports them. Yeah. And then you have institutions who will buy that artist's work. And so it feeds in on itself and it keeps going. And so this work first appeared in the Miami Art Fair, I think maybe 2019. Is it really? Only that seems fairly recent. I think so. Anyway, I feel it was around 2019 it appeared. And so what happened, it created a bit of a stir. And so then people started coming to the Miami Art Fair just to see this work because it was so ludicrous. And the reason the artist made this work is because he was questioning the value of what is placed on objects, in particular the art world. So it was actually satirizing the art market anyway, where it was situated. So that's quite funny. And it's actually, the term is called, the artwork's called comedian. And it's actually a parody on the fact that you could actually, that old comedic act of like slipping on a banana peel, falling over. Yeah. And so it's even like playing on that old history of like, I slipped on a banana peel and fell down. So it's got that allusion to it as well. So the artist is having a go at the art market. It's having a go at what the value of things are and that what we place on it. And so that was the beginning impetus idea of the work. And then now it's taken somewhere else because it caused such a stir, it's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. You call that art, right? That's another story. Let's put a pin in that because then that comes down to like concept versus skill set. But this one is purely conceptual, right?
Yes.
And so...
again, what is art? I mean, like people seem to be wanting to be part of the story of a piece of artwork, and whether people decide that this is art or not seems to be irrelevant in this case because people are willing to pay millions of dollars to be part of the story of something like this. But it's not just this, is it? It's like you just said, it's the body of work. It's looking at the history of the artist. It's almost like they just want to inject themselves into that story and be part of it.
Yeah, and agreed. And
the buyer, the observer. Yeah.
So I mean, this was initially sold, I think, 3 or 4 times over. I don't know how many editions there are of the banana and gaffer tape and the set of instructions. So I can't stop laughing at you.
Set of instructions. Really? We figured it out in 2 seconds.
What is it? We don't know if we've actually got the right length. I'm going to read the instructions actually to see what it gives us. I don't know. Anyway, so moving forward, I want to, like you said, people want to insert themselves into the story. Yeah. So the artist has created this parody. It's caused a stir. It's actually done exactly what it had to do. It actually got a bit of a conversation going, well, how much value do you place on things? I mean, in particular, the art world and that exclusivity. And that in itself is funny because it was actually mocking the very thing that gave the artist its credibility, like being noted.
I mean, understanding that, it does help me sort of understand why the artist chose to do something like this. It's interesting. It's a whimsy view of the art world and the
greater world.
Yeah, and he's having a go.
Yeah, and because it's contemporary art, so it's a slice at the moment in this time of what a greater cultural experience is, because not only did that then cause a stir, it then the way in which it transpired around the world, with social media. So then it becomes a comment and observation on how information and news is gone out into a greater audience. And so because of that, though, then it actually got into instead of this small subcultural exclusive market of the art world, it actually seeped into a greater audience. And then for that to do that fascinating. And so it's actually really astounding. It's actually a stellar piece of artwork, because it's now actually gone, the work itself has got a life of its own. It's actually gone out into the greater world. It turned into a meme. So it's a meme. Yeah. And it ended up on The Simpsons. I think if you end up on The Simpsons, in that situation, you've done something right.
Or something very, very wrong, Either way, you're well known.
You're well known.
Yeah.
If you're on The Simpsons. So this, ended up in The Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
And so to be a part of that story, it's now gone straight from notoriety into the sort of Western canonization of art, which is astounding in a very quick succession of time. And it's always in the news. And so it's in the news again, because the person who bought it is one of the, a big crypto investor. And, I guess, well, that's the other thing. Not many people could buy this because they wouldn't have the flash money to be able to do it. And so if you've actually got that much money to buy this and make a stir, then it becomes bigger than the artwork. It means that you're now a part of the artwork, and now you're part of the story and you're part of the history of the art.
Okay, well, that helps me understand a little how and why this phenomenon has taken place. And I guess, in everyday life, in, dare I say, the real world...
This is the point. It is the real world.
Well,
that's the point of art.
Apart from the art, galleries and viewing art and that sort of thing. But people have been doing this sort of thing for ages.
What do you mean? What thing?
Well, accumulating things, artifacts.
Oh, like collecting. So as a collector,
collecting things that are associated with a performer, artist, sports person, whatever. Could you imagine what the first pair of Michael Jordan shoes, Air Jordans, would be worth?
I don't know. A lot.
As
much as a banana and gaffer tape?
Possibly. But it happens. It's not that an original type phenomenon. It's been happening for a long time.
Yeah, right.
And most of us wouldn't view that as art, but maybe it is. Anyone that performs or is associated with something great, there's always going to be some sort of artifact or a prop or whatever
that
associated with that.
And if you love it that much,
money.
If you love it that much and you believe in that story that much, then you're willing to buy.
And then you're part of that story.
And then you become part of that story.
You do. And so that's very similar to this, I think.
It's exactly the same as that.
It's exactly
not even
the same.
similar. It's like thank you. Wham, bam, thank you, man. You're done. Great.
So I think
of the story.
People that don't understand this, maybe they do without realising. Because, people that are interested in a sport or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there collecting stuff, and they would think that's just fine. I think this sort of thing is a little bizarre to people because it's a perishable. It actually doesn't last long. You've paid all these millions of dollars, and you then have to throw the banana away and go buy another one and then tape that to your wall.
Yeah. But that's funny, right? So, that's
it is funny. It is. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
I think the artist is laughing a lot.
Yeah. All the way to the bank.
Yeah.
All the way to retirement. He came out of retirement to make that.
Yeah, but let's just say that perhaps he's arrived at a point in his career or life where he can do something like that and just have a laugh.
I think he's always
got
done
the score
something
on
like
the
that.
board, and
Yeah.
He can actually do something like this and just sit back and see what happens, and it's worked, right? It's actually created all this conjecture, all this talk, all this debate.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a piece of successful art.
I think it is.
Dare I say.
I think that's the thing also, we're looking at art. There's a lot of ways in which you can make art. For me, I like to work with materials. I actually like that conversation of actually physically making something.
Yep.
But you can use concept. Like if you look at concept or instead of concept, you could say the idea. Like that idea in itself is a material. And so when you look at conceptual art, like they're not working with a physical thing, they're working with ideas or a moment in time.
Okay.
And so it's still valid. Yeah, what do you think?
But most times when you say conceptual art, you still end up with a 3D sort of sculpture, or no, this is all just
no, you can still
ideas.
You can have ideas. So there is a whole genre of like conceptual art that doesn't have to manifest in an actual physical, tangible, structural object.
Are we talking electronic? Is it like on a visual medium, or
no? You could have like a moment in time. You could have a play. You could have a situation where just trying to think of other.
How do you display that art if it's not like tangible?
It might be recorded in another way. It might be filmed.
Oh, filmed. Okay.
It might be filmed that
so
moment in time.
Yeah.
That the artist was in a moment, or and then it was recorded, or it was documented. But then that work has happened. It will never happen again in that same way.
I see. So
so there might be a list of instructions like there is for the banana and the gavetane in which you can follow, which then that is the artwork.
That is the artwork.
That is the artwork. So there is that, the artwork doesn't have to be an object. It doesn't have to be.
Sounds like a recipe to me.
Are our brains like perfectly fried now? Are we done?
I think so. But look, I found this really, really fascinating, like to try and better understand this aspect of art and what it means to everyday people. So
well, I mean, if you look at like
Jones.
I don't know if I help. We might have to evaluate that a bit more. But anyway, are you hungry?
Yeah, let's eat.
Would you like a banana?